All right, I'm back. Okay, so we were at, you've got your starter locks, right? Um, so we were talking about people say don't wash your locks for, or your hair, starter locks, etc. You know what I mean? Don't wash your hair for a month. So what I'm going to say with that is, if you are going to a professional and they are giving you advice to do it a certain way, then by all means listen to them. But if you are like me, where you are starting your locks on your own and you are not getting a professional's guidance and stuff like that, or me like that, or me locking my hair is not typical, as far as what can be found online and things like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm a poor researcher. I don't really think so. But I had a very hard time finding guidance on locking 3B hair. I am Puerto Rican and Hawaiian, amongst other things, but that's mostly what it is: Puerto Rican, Hawaiian, Portuguese. And I don't have a very dry scalp. I wash my hair about every 3 days as a loose natural. And in the beginning, I continued to do that because, I mean, to not wash my hair for even a full week was hard. That was very, very hard. And when your hair is dirty, your scalp is dirty, it needs to be washed, you're going to be scratching. And scratching would lead to basically wounds on your scalp, which can lead to scabs. And it's just not healthy. It's not healthy for your scalp. And I feel like that's very important, especially when you're locking your hair. It's important in general, really. But to me, a clean scalp, clean hair, etc., is very important in general, even when you're locking your hair. So I feel like it's a very common misconception when people say don't wash your hair for the first month. And I'm not even going to get on the topic of the people who actually believe that people with locks don't wash their hair at all. But that's for another video. But I would say do what feels best for you. I'm going to do a separate video on tips for those who are starting their locks, but this is just kind of things to consider when you're starting your locks, like for people who are researching and trying to get perspectives, tips, etc. There are ways to wash your hair when you have starter locks, whether that's comb coils, twists, or whatever, where you're worried about unraveling and messing up the parts. There's ways to go about that. And I'll do a separate video on that. But either you're going to a professional and taking their advice and consulting them if you have an issue with what they're having you do, or if you're like me and going at it on your own, do what's best for you. Do you, boo. Because I was not about to not wash my hair for a month. That just would not work for me at all. I just can't. I can't do that. So for me, I washed my hair at least every 3 days. I did try to prolong it for like a week every now and again because it was tough. I didn't want to like mess up my parts, and I can't comb it. I wasn't really trying to do a lot of retwisting or anything of that nature, any maintenance to my roots. So I basically washed my hair as I felt I needed to. Like, I really tried to hold out, and then I would. But for the most part, I mean, it was every 3 to 4 days, maybe 5. And that was it. So that's what I'm going to say with regards to washing your hair. When washing your hair, though, like we're talking about drying it now, like you've washed your hair, you're not going to be conditioning it. Or at least that's my tip on that, because when you're washing your hair, you want to cleanse your hair and your scalp. To put conditioner in there would basically counteract the effect that you're going for with you locking your hair. You're not going to have your hair tangle up and lock up if you're putting conditioner in your hair, because conditioner is supposed to counteract that. It's supposed to moisturize your hair, make it slippery so it's easy to detangle and things of that nature. So when you have your starter locks and you do wash your hair for the first time or whatever the case is, you are not going to condition your hair. And I think I'll do a separate video as well when I do the tips on starter locks. I'll kind of go over products, but you want to basically use a deep cleansing shampoo, a clarifying shampoo, Castile soap, a shampoo made for locks. I know the Neutrogena anti-residue shampoo is a popular one. Yeah, so you want to use like a shampoo like that that's not going to have a residue and leave product in the hair. And then afterwards, there's no conditioning. When you dry your hair, you do not want to use a cotton towel, because in the beginning, I mean, you could get away with it in the beginning if you're gentle. And if the towel is not a linty towel, if your towel is linty or it's kind of new, don't use that towel, okay? You ideally want to use some sort of there's a moth in here because I've got the door open because I really like fresh air. But when you dry your hair, you want to ideally use a microfiber towel, a lint-free towel. I mean, you can use a towel that is made for cars if it's like brand new, because usually those towels are quote unquote lint free or microfiber. For me personally, I ended up going to, I think it was Ross, and I couldn't find a microfiber towel to save my life until I checked the pet section. And the pet section, they actually did have a microfiber towel. In a pretty good size one. It has a bone on it, but that's the towel that I use to dry my hair. And I would highly recommend, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I don't care about that. As long as lint is not getting in my hair from the towel. So that's important, because as your hair locks up and tangles and you're not moisturizing it, I mean, a little lint ball, if it, gets stuck in your hair because you're drying your hair, I mean, it can get stuck in between the tangles, obviously. So most people do not want lint in their hair, okay? Whether that's loose, natural, relaxed, locks, avoiding lint is ideal. So like if you're having a hard time finding the microfiber towels, even though, I mean, there's lots of places that you can find them now, but if you're in a little bit of a bind, you haven't gotten it yet, etc., you can use like a cotton t-shirt, very similar to what some people will say that they use for their loose curls when they are trying to define and dry their curls. You can use paper towels. Ideally, you don't want to use paper towels long term because that's wasteful. But a t-shirt that doesn't give off a lot of lint or a microfiber towel would be ideal. Okay, so that's one thing. And then now I know that some people are very concerned about moisture and stuff like that. And I don't really have a lot to say with regards to that, except for when you're locking your hair is going to seem dry probably, because your hair is tangling and things like that. So, I mean, if you want to keep your hair moisturized, the best way to do that would be water. And if you want to put some oil in your hair, by all means, do that. I would probably recommend one that's not too emollient so that it doesn't counteract that tangling process. Hi, honey. So it doesn't counteract that tangling process. But for me personally, I did not really put a lot of oil in my hair. Keep it down. I'm recording a video, okay? So, yeah. If you really want to keep your hair moisturized, that's a concern for you. Definitely spritz your hair with water every day, whether that's once a day, twice a day. It's really up to you. Okay, I'm about to make your dinner, okay? That's really up to you. So, besides that, in the long run, you want to keep in mind the products that you use when retwisting or going to a person who is going to be doing your lock maintenance. You want to ask them, especially if you've never been to them, or if you're just doing research. I'm recording a video. Okay.
I can see myself.
I know. You want to ask them what kind of towels they use. Do they use microfiber towels because you're concerned about lint? There's nothing wrong with asking those questions. What product do they use? Because you want to stay away from waxes, heavy creams, things with mineral oil, anything that would be built up in your hair, you want to avoid. Silicones, all that stuff you want to stay away from, because ultimately in the long run, as your hair locks up and tangles, it's going to become harder and harder to wash that stuff out, and it'll get trapped inside, and it's just not good. If you want to keep your locks healthy from the beginning, I would recommend staying away from beeswax, heavy creams, mineral oil, silicones, or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like flax gel.
Yeah.
Dominic, I am recording a video. Please stop playing while I'm talking. Thank you. I know I use aloe vera gel. That's my favorite. Aloe vera gel. But I know a lot of people love flax gel. I tried to make flax gel a long time ago when I was a loose natural, and
Can I open that?
I couldn't. No, that's for your sister.
I want to open it.
I said no. Your sister's going to open it. I'm recording a video. Leave me be.
Can I look at it?
You can look at it. Don't open it. So, let's see.
I know what's in here.
I'm recording a video. We could talk after. I'm wrapping it up.
And here is her costume.
Yes. Let me finish my video. So, I would really recommend aloe vera gel. People love flax gel or flaxseed gel. I don't really know that much else. I mean, that's what I've used. I'm only, past the year mark. I'm sure that there's other things that can be used and people, have good success with it. Their locks are healthy. If any of you guys are watching, please feel free to comment below on what products you use and recommend and how long you've had your hair locked, because I would love to see that. I know I've thought about venturing off and using other products and stuff, but I just can't with the buildup. Because my scalp is not oily, but a little bit moderately oily. I have to wash every 3 days or so. And I just feel like my hair and scalp gets built up very, very easily. So I'm a little bit wary about using products that are not natural. Dominic, close that door for me, please. Thank you, honey. So I'm a little wary on it. So I would love to hear people's suggestions on that. The last thing I want to quickly go over would be drying. So in the beginning, it's not really a major deal. You can dry your hair as good as you possibly can. Do not twist your hair or your starter locks, however you want to call it. Do not twist like you are grinding pepper on your pasta or something. Because that is going to, in the long run, cause weak spots and damage your hair. You can break your locks and things like that. So don't do that. You just want to, like with the towel, just, you could squeeze it, just don't twist to get the extra moisture and water out. But anyway, so in the beginning, it won't be a big deal with the drying, like if you want to air dry. But as you move along, depending on your hair texture and how dense your locks are, how thick you get them, you're going to want to get your locks dried as soon as you can. So like for me, I have one of those hood dryers where you connect it to your blow dryer, and it's got like the little drawstring and the little chin strap. Because I am not about to buy like a hooded, like a real hooded dryer. I'm not about that life. Not yet, at least. I'm not buying one of those. But I do have one of those, and so I use that. Or even if you just have a regular blow dryer in the beginning, once it starts to lock up, you could use that as well to just blow as much of the water out as possible and dry your locks as quickly as possible, because you don't want water to get trapped in your locks and start growing mold or mildew and things like that. And I don't know if anyone like in my family or at work has ever seen me do it, but I will, no lie, like just smell my locks just because I want to check. Because I can't help it. Like that's a concern for me, because the way my locks are, like these ones in the back are pretty thick. Hold on, let me see. Like it's pretty thick. And so, I mean, I'm making all kinds of faces. I really concentrate on those when I'm drying, because like if I take my hair out, I'm wrapping it up, baby. I'm wrapping it up, I promise, okay? If I take my hair out, like these are not very thick. But if you look at like the ones in the back, not even really that one, but like these ones here in the back compared to, hold on, Dominic, compared to these ones in front, these are thinner, obviously, and these are thicker. So this is going to take longer to dry and is a focal point when I'm drying my hair. Because I don't want to have any issues with mildew or mold or anything like that. So that's just the last thing I wanted to talk about is drying times. You want to invest in some sort of a dryer as you progress on your journey, so that you can dry your locks pretty quickly. So yeah. Yeah, that's all I want to cover for now. I hope that this wasn't too awkward. I'm sorry if it is, but feel free to comment, and thank you for watching my video. If you're not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe, comment. I know that I have a couple questions that some of my subscribers have asked me about, and I said I was going to do a video, and I promise it's coming. I'm hoping to record that this week. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys have a good night.
I'm behind you.